Hello, welcome to the Horror of It All movie podcast. I'm Eric. Today I'm going to be doing my top 10 favorite horror movies of the year 1989. Now, I have done a top 10 for every year in the 80s throughout the past couple of years, but I finally got to 1989. So I think I'm just going to dive into it. Sorry about the camera. I know it's not the greatest, but we do what we can kind of thing. I'm sure everybody... If you follow me and enjoy the stuff, I appreciate it. Hope people have fun with my picks of my top 10, as well as tons of honorable mentions, recommendations, that type of thing. So, well, I'm going to dive right into it right now. My number 10 of my top 10 favorite horror movies of 1989 is the Italian movie from Luigi Cozzi, Paganini Horror. Now, this is one that I have heard isn't everybody's favorite necessarily. Severin also put it out, and I have that one as well. But I just grabbed this one for the video. This is a cool release, I think. It's like reversed art on the inside there, but it's basically just an Italian supernatural movie. That I have a lot of fun with. It's got a pretty cool cast, including Donald Pleasence. So, that is my number 10. Number 9 is a movie that I had never seen before I bought it from Vinegar Syndrome. And, yeah, so it's my number 9 is Deadly Games, Dial Code for Santa, or Santa Claus. This is basically a movie about this kid who is really, really smart and good at doing, like, gadgets and, like, booby traps and, like, things like that. And basically what it is he's with his grandfather, and because his mom has to leave for work, and he sends a message to Santa, and somehow a deranged guy that is dressed up like Santa, comes to his house and essentially cat and mouses him and tries to murder him and his grandfather. So it's something else. Since I've got it, this is also a 4K. Since I've got it, another name is 3615, I believe that is, or 75. I can't remember what that is. It is also a... Let me see. French movie, but that's the back of the slipcover. You can see that. No, sorry about the camera. But it's a very good movie, and I have been watching it ever since during December before Christmas. So I really like it. The thing I was gonna add is it has been referred to as an influence on Home Alone, I guess. But I don't know if Christopher Columbus would have seen this movie. I don't know. But I'm not even putting out speculation. I'm just saying what I've heard. Me personally, when I watched it, I did not think of that. So, yeah. So that's my number 9. Deadly Games. Number 8. A movie that I think is still underrated, surprisingly, especially who's involved. It has people that worked on, like, Evil Dead movies. Bruce Campbell's in it briefly. He's not the star, as some say, or as has been said. But the kills are fucking great. And I should have said what it was before I said all that. But I'm talking about Intruder. Intruder is a slasher in a grocery store. And the kills are fucking awesome. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Seek out this copy, find it, see it, whatever. I love Intruder, and like I said, and if you can, try to find the director's cut, because the kills are just that much more brutal. Number 7 is actually in a pack that I have here, but I'll point out stuff. I'm talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3. Better Watch Out. Now, this is a set that I so love, and I'm so glad that Vestron put it out, because it has 3, 4, and 5 of Silent Night, Deadly Night. I love I shouldn't say love. I really love most of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. I'm not the biggest fan of 2. I'm sorry. I know people love it, and I understand why you love it. And maybe you like it because it's so bad or whatever. But Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, on the other hand, is a very interesting thing. It continues with Ricky, I believe. Sorry if I got that wrong. I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. But it's the youngest brother, basically the baby that was in the car at the beginning of Silent Night, Deadly Night. The first one, which is definitely my first one. I love that movie so much, and I swear to God I love it more and more as I watch it. Anyway, back to part 3. Now, part 3 has Bill Moseley, as you can see right here. And you see that little thing, that little thing, yeah. That big thing on his head is basically containing his brain, and there's liquid in it, so he can live, I guess, because of what happens at the end of 2, I suppose. But anyway, he's in a coma, and then when he wakes up, he ends up going on a killing spree. Doesn't really talk very much, but I still think it's a really good performance. It's my second favorite Silent Night, Deadly Night. And yeah, I really enjoy it, and I'm so glad they're finally, the rest of them are on Blu-ray. One more thing I would say about 2, I don't want to push away those fans or anything. I know people love it. The thing that always gets me is when somebody says, you don't need to watch 1, you can just watch 2 because of all the flashbacks. Yeah, half the fucking movie is a flashback. That's one part of it that I'm not a fan of. But anyway, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 is my number 7. Is that where I'm at? I believe. Yep. I highly recommend it, and if you can get this, I would recommend that too, especially if you like the other ones. Yeah. Number 6 is actually part of a box set that Vinegar Syndrome put out. In case anybody's curious, this is my Vinegar Syndrome shelf. If you see it in the background, you're like, is that all Vinegar Syndrome? Yes. Anyway, back to this. My number 6 is Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes. The first in what they coined as the Object Amityville movies. What do they call it? The Cursed Objects, which is part of a box set that I had mentioned. The Cursed Collection. Love this fucking box set. Amityville 1992, It's About Time, is my favorite one in the box set. Anyway, I always get on tangents. Part 4. I have had this. I had it on DVD forever. Never watched it. I love the Amityville movies, and I had seen most of them up until I saw 4. Every other one in the box set I grew up with, but for some reason I never watched 4. But the cursed object in this is a lamp, I believe. But yeah, if you're into the Amityville movies, like I am, or whatever, I do recommend this one. It's not my favorite in the box set, as I said. It's About Time is. I, however, with Amityville, do not go into all the stupid, in my opinion, stupid bullshit, like sequel, whatever. They're not canon. They're just, people are just using the name Amityville and going with it. And there's some dumbass shit in my opinion. I'm sorry. I'm never usually a negative guy when it comes to that, but I love the Amityville series. And for me, I think the last real one was probably Awakening. And I even like the remake with Ryan Reynolds. But I really do like these movies, and Part 4 is definitely one to check out, in my opinion. We are already at the top 5. Only 9 minutes in. And I'm just going to go right into it. Now, number 5 is one of my top 10 favorite Lucio Fulci movies. And that is House of Clocks. I love House of Clocks. I really, really do. There was a series of 4 different movies that Cauldron, thank you Cauldron, got restored and finally put out. Because I had all 4 of them on DVD, for like UK DVDs forever, but I really genuinely love House of Clocks. House of Clocks is basically about this, well, as the title says, House of Clocks, but the clocks mess with time, like go back in time, fix the whole bunch of different stuff going on. And of course, the kills are amazing and brutal. It's Italian. It's Lucio Fulci. I fucking love it. Now, all the House movies, House of Clocks, House of Lost Souls, which I just rewatched recently and love that one. I will have a review of the House box set, this house, not the other house, up as soon as I can, because I want to go through the whole box set. I actually have watched, I still have a couple more to watch, but I love the box set. 2 Lucio Fulci movies. The other one is Sweet House of Horrors, which I didn't grab the box set. I took this out of the box set. So yeah, Sweet House of Horrors is, I will say, is an early, once I get to the honorable mentions, is in there. As well as the whole box set, to be honest with you. But, as I said, I won't talk too much about the box set because I will have a review up and I will be talking about the box set. I love this new artwork. So great. Thank you so much, Cauldron, for putting this out. Love this movie. All right, number 4. Now, this is, I just have this as a box set. I have a DVD set somewhere, but I'd have to dig it out. So I just use this as I did on my previous videos. My number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child. And this is the Blu-ray box set. I know I've heard mixed things with people with Dream Child. I personally really, really like Dream Child. I like that whole series of those characters. I like the kid that plays the Dream Child. I think he's pretty funny. The whole son of 100 maniacs or whatever, the saying in previous, you pretty much see that and go back with it. But yeah, it's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Love it or hate it. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. But number 5 is my number 4 favorite horror movie of 1989. All right. Back in more sequels here. My number 3 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Halloween 4 and 5 are 2 of my absolute favorites of the series. This is the 4K. It looks absolutely amazing, and there is a little bit of new for special features, I believe. It's a popular one around this time of year. I know. Well, Halloween in general, maybe not 5. I know 5 isn't necessarily everybody's one of their favorites, but I really like it. I know a lot of people don't like Tina, and but yeah, she's a lot, but I still like the movie. I think the kills are pretty good. Basically, 5, if you're not sure and you've seen 4, follows Jamie. Not Jamie Lee Curtis, the little girl Jamie, who is played by Danielle Harris. After the end of Part 4, that always fucking gets me. And now she's basically mute. It's like a shock thing or something. And she can also see what Michael is doing because of their connection, because it's her uncle and all that. And then they don't get into it, but if you can see that right there, I know mine's bigger, I wanted it that way, of the thorn, it's hard to show here, the thorn tattoo on Michael's arm. They don't really go into it too much, they go into it more in 6, but it's there. I haven't watched this yet this year, but usually the week leading up until Halloween, I just bang out whatever Halloween movies that I want to watch. And yeah, this will definitely be one of them. Great. It's very good 4K, too. I have to say that. But, yeah, not much else you can say. It's Halloween 5. The Revenge of Michael Myers. Alright, so this is going to be my number 2. And then I'm going to go through a bunch of honorable mentions / recommendations. And then my number 1. And then we'll call it an episode. My number 2 is another sequel that a lot of people don't seem to like, and it's one of my fucking favorites. I have just accepted it. I'm a guy that saying goes, is on an island with a lot of movies. It's just how it is, and I'm okay with it. But my number 2 favorite horror movie of 1988 is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Yeah, I know. Jason takes Vancouver, Jason takes a boat, blah, 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 blah. I don't care what anybody has to say. I love the movie, but you do you, man. If you don't like it, don't like it. I love it. I really do. I think this movie is great, and it's definitely in my top favorite Friday the 13th movies, which, little plug, as I do whenever I think of it, I did a top ranking of my favorite, it was a ranking of the Friday the 13th movies. There you go. A couple years ago with my wife, as it's an audio podcast. It's also on my page. And yeah, did we definitely talk about this one? I don't know what else can be said. I know a lot of my picks are ones that I'm sure people have seen, like or not. But I always like this movie. I love Kane Hodder. I've met him so many times that he basically knows, he sees me and he's like, yeah, I remember that guy, and just Kane's being Kane kind of thing. But yeah, basically it just takes place after Part 7, where he's in the water stuck. He gets a new mask because if you remember on Part 7, his mask split in half because of another Tina. He with the whole, like, she had powers and stuff like that. So, he ends up getting brought back again and comes out of the water onto a boat. They happen to have a hockey mask there, and he gets the hockey mask, kills them, and so on. And then he ends up on a boat with a bunch of, I think they were college kids. I want to say they were college kids. I don't actually remember that part. Anyway, but they're on a boat to go to New York, and I know, people, like, the logistics of this doesn't make sense and blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm also the guy, I don't care. It's a movie. I just have fun with it. I disconnect. It's not reality, okay? Like, I know a lot of people I've seen in reviews say, not just about this, but in general, about, like, well, this doesn't make sense. That's not realistic. Blah blah blah. It's not life. If you want real life, go outside. But no disrespect. Just saying. Movies are an escape. They're fantasy. It's just to have fun. And Friday the 13th Part 8, I've watched countless times. Every time I have a blast. That is my number 2. So now I'm going to be going on to my honorable mentions for my favorite horror movies in 1988. I'm just going to grab here. This is a Vinegar Syndrome release. This movie is so fucked up. It's The Suckling. The Suckling is basically... this is horrible, and people might tune out here, and I'm going to try not to be as graphic, but... is basically like an aborted baby, and it's flushed down the toilet. I know I shouldn't laugh, but... and then in a sewer, it's still alive and it deforms and then it kills people. It's so fucked up. If you like fucked up shit, check out The Suckling. That's all I'm gonna say. If that's too fucked up, and I understand, probably shouldn't watch The Suckling. Another one here, The Fly 2. I think it was a very good sequel to the remake of The Fly, which is, in my opinion, one of the top best remakes ever. I think The Fly, The Thing, and The Blob are all... I personally love them more. I like them more than the originals. So, yeah. This Fly 2, however, is about the son that they have, who ends up finding out that he is part fly, like his dad. And this came out of the box set. Eric Stoltz stars in this one. I haven't watched this one in a while. I should check it out again, but I remember really liking it. It's in the Fly box set, which has the 3 older movies, original movies, and then it has the remake, and it has this. I had the box signed by Gina Davis this year, which was a thrill. Again, none of that has to do with The Fly 2, but it's adjacent, it's connected. But yeah, Fly 2. That's a honorable mention, recommendation type thing. An amazing 4K. I know. for a lot of people, and I get it too. It's expensive, but I understand. I'm talking about the 4K of The Church from Severin, but the honorable mention is The Church. I'm sure you can probably see it elsewhere. But Dario Argento presents Michele Soavi film, who also did Cemetery Man, which they also released. But The Church is very just, it's an Italian fucked up shit. Yeah. They even put out a shirt where the demon is having sex with a woman. I got that shirt. But The Church is something else, and it looks absolutely astoundingly amazing on 4K. Here, I'll even kind of, that's some of like original artwork. It's basically about a church that underneath the church there is a gateway, and I'll just leave it at that. This little review from Bloody Disgusting. It will blow your mind. Plenty of gore, demon sex, and rad score. Everything you need for an awesome Italian party movie is present and accounted for. I'm not usually one that does, like, I don't usually watch movies with a bunch of people, unless I would go to the theater. I like to watch movies with, like, myself or like a friend or my wife. But usually it's just because I watch so many movies, I just watch them. I always feel like I can't wait to watch it with somebody. I'm just going to watch it. But anyway, another tangent off. The Church. The second movie called Grave Robbers in English that Vinegar Syndrome put out is another honorable mention. This is a... I feel like it's Spanish, right? Yeah. He also did Don't Panic, the same director, and as well as Cemetery of Terror. Vinegar Syndrome put all three of those out. This is just an all-around fun movie. It's a zombie movie. It's about, like, well, grave robbers. I do personally, not that you can really compare the two because they're vastly different movies. Like the other movie, Grave Robbers, which I've mentioned plenty of times on my channel, that Vinegar Syndrome put out, which I continue to highly recommend that movie. I fucking love that movie, but that's not this. This is a Spanish zombie movie that is, in my opinion, pretty great. And I kept saying Spanish. Let's see. What did I say? Yeah. One of the forgotten films to come out of... an overlooked 80s... I read ahead, sorry. One of the forgotten films come from Mexico's often overlooked 80s horror boom. I think this director, what's his name? Ruben Galindo Jr. If I said it wrong, I apologize. I recommend all three of those, but because this is 1989, it's Grave Robbers. I like it a lot. I can't remember if anybody's curious if this is just in Spanish. It surprisingly doesn't say. They put that on there better now. Unless I missed it, I apologize. But yeah, I still recommend this. Grave Robbers. What does that mean? From before, I changed my mind. This is a movie that I saw a long time ago. More Italian goodness. Beyond the Door 3, which I do not call it, because that really isn't what it is. Just like Beyond the Door 2 isn't really that either. Beyond the Door is Beyond the Door, but anyway. This is a muck train. Saw this many years ago. Then Vinegar Syndrome put it out a long while ago. And it's just some crazy Italian shit and there's supernatural kills on a train that are pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Boy, I got a lot of Vinegar Syndromes in a row here. I just been grabbing. Cutting Class. It's a not very like huge slasher movie. When Vinegar Syndrome put this out, I think they put out like 4 or 5 slipcovers. I like the Kiln one. But yeah, really cool on the back too. This is a very early Brad Pitt movie. Roddy McDowall's also in it. How do you say her last name? Jill Socialin? I'm sorry. But her on the cover. She did some other stuff too. But yeah, Cutting Class is fun. It's just basically a high school slasher movie, and yeah, it's an honorable mention for sure. To seek out if you like 80s slashers, check it out. I don't think it's very brutal or anything, but I still thought it was fun. Speaking of fun, my another recommendation. I only have a few left, and then I'll get into my number one favorite movie from 1988 for horror. Well, it's actually my favorite my favorite movie of that year. Anyway, Sleepaway Camp 3. I love Sleepaway Camp 2. Sleepaway Camp 2 is probably my favorite one. Right next to Sleepaway Camp 3. I love both of these movies. They're pretty fucking insane. Yeah. Angela's back. Played by Pamela... what is her name? Pamela Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen's sister, I believe. Yeah. It's just some crazy shit. Don't get me wrong. I like the first one, but I like these more than that. As I noticed it was loose. But yeah, that's definitely an honorable mention / recommendation. I highly recommend 2 if you haven't seen that. Alright, next one is a release from Culture Shock. I kind of miss Culture Shock. I haven't really seen much of their stuff as of late. I know they're not a partner label anymore, and they went with TerrorVision. Wow. Yeah. But has only released one that I know of pretty much since they were a partner label. But anyway, Girlfriend from Hell, I believe, was their first partner label. I was following Cauldron, yeah. I was following Culture Shock, yeah, before they were a partner label, and I genuinely love their output, and I hope to see more soon. But Girlfriend from Hell is just kind of a light, fun movie about this possessed girl that goes to a party and kills people, and it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. That's the alternate artwork there. I highly recommend Girlfriend from Hell. That's the back of it there. What is it? The devil made her do it. Not that she minded. I am glad that Vestron put this out. This is a very fucked up movie with Randy Quaid called Parents. It's basically about, well, these parents of this kid, and the kid starts questioning things, where the meat is coming from. And if you get what I mean by that, then yeah. That's all I'll say about it. It's a pretty fucked up movie, but it's very fun. Parents. Okay. Last, regular movie, per se, for an honorable mention. I know I had quite a few, but there's so much great shit in the 80s, and my last thing that I'm going to mention isn't just 1989, but it's an overall perspective, perfect for my last of the 80s videos. Society. One of the most fucked up movies I've ever fucking seen in my life. The effects are amazing. Brian Yuzna did it, right? Yeah, after producing Brian Yuzna, who did Bride of Reanimator and Return of Living Dead 3, which I love, he did Society. And it's very fucked up. And I love that when Joe Bob Briggs showed it on The Last Drive-In, a couple years ago, that shunting became a thing on social media because of it. Yeah, this movie's just fucking fucked up body horror shit. Very highly about classes of society also, but it's so you can just look at the melding of the flesh and stuff. Whew, it's some fucked up stuff. This is the original artwork. I did want to show that. Yeah. Arrow put this out years ago. Don't know if it's out of print or anything, but that's the copy I have. If you want to watch something fucked up, this Society. You might have guessed what I meant by the all-encompassing of the 80s, but I highly recommend seeking these out. I know it's a really limited niche thing, and I shouldn't even say niche thing, but like it's a very limited thing. Like you pay for it's like a premium thing. That's the word I was looking for. But I'm talking about the In Search of Darkness documentary trilogy. These are all three of them. The first two are like over 4 hours, and then the second one's over 5 hours. I can't wait for the 90s one. I ordered my copy. Yeah, I love these documentaries so much, and I just watched them again for like the fourth or fifth time. I don't even remember. But I love this box set, and then and they released the box to put them in the previous, I believe, when the third one came out. But whoops, are those upside down? Yeah. I highly recommend these. All-encompassing of 1989, 1989, the 1980s. But yeah, like I said, since this is my last 80s video for the top 10 favorites of each year, I had to mention In Search of Darkness. I fucking love it, and I highly recommend seeking it out. All of them are well worth it. I know that sounds long, but when I watch them, I don't even notice. I just love them so much. Oh, this is the back of the box. There's so much going on there. I love the 80s. It's my favorite decade for horror. I gush a little bit at the end here. But before I come to a complete close, I need to talk about my absolute favorite horror movie of 1989. My favorite movie of 1989. Also in my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. Pet Sematary. I grew up with this movie. It's still scary. It still gives me the same feeling every time I watch it. It's so effective. It just gets in my mind, and it's terrifying. Like for it to me, honestly. But I love Pet Sematary. I mean, there's not much to say about it that people don't already know, but god damn it, this movie, man. Zelda, that always stays. Rachel, that always stays with you, and the goddamn scene with Gage, with the tractor trailer truck, which I do like when it was like reprised. Is that how you say it? On the Ice Nine Kills video for Funeral Derangements, which is about Pet Sematary. Ice Nine Kills is also one of my favorite bands. All their songs are about horror movies. Well, not all their songs, but all their songs lately on their past couple albums have been that, as well as other things, but like books and stuff with Every Trick in the Book. Anyway, so the sidetrack. Love the band. Love Pet Sematary. I can't say enough great things about it. And on 4K, it absolutely looks amazing. There's a documentary about Pet Sematary that is out also. But god damn it, it's just one of my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. And if I ever made like a top 10 favorite movies of all time, I think this would still be in there. That's how much I love it. It's such a human, personal level like movie. Like, what would you do? How far would you go to get that person back that you love, that is family or whatever? Would you bury them in an Indian burial ground? They might if they come back, but when they come back, it's not them anymore. Yeah, I just got real for a minute, and I got chills just thinking about Pet Sematary. I gotta watch this 4K again as soon as possible. And of course, the tagline, sometimes dead is better. Man, I'm trying to think of anything else about the movie, but it's Pet fucking Sematary, man. I love it so much, and what a better way to end my couple year long spanned out videos of my top 10 favorite horror movies of each year in the 1980s, and ending it with Pet Sematary. There's no better way I can think to end it, because of how I genuinely, absolutely love this terrifying movie. I love Stephen King adaptations. I loved so many of them, and I still do throughout my whole life, growing up with them. But this is up there. God damn. But yeah, that's my number 1 favorite horror movie of the year 1989. I hope everybody reach the end, if they were curious what my picks were, I am so overjoyed that I finally did this video. Check out the other videos in the folder. I'll try to mark it here somewhere. It should pop up. I usually do that so I can remember as I'm going through the video. Because I have one for every year in the 1980s. I know I mentioned that. This was a blast. I gotta do more. I gotta do more ranking videos. They're my favorite ones to do, to be honest, but life happens. I have a family. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a life outside of my glorious love for horror, and whenever I have a chance to do it, I do. And yeah, so check out my other videos, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the other 80s videos. Hell, you could binge all of them. The earlier ones aren't the greatest, but this camera and lighting isn't the greatest either, so they might kind of go hand in hand. I don't know. I will stop rambling. I hope you enjoyed my picks. Comment below. Let me know what your top 10 favorite horror movies are of 1989 or the 80s in general. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you finish this video. Like and subscribe. This has been the Horror of It All Movie Podcast. I'm Eric. Until next time.